Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we are here with an advanced level lesson. That means that we're going to listen to a pretty long and exciting dialogue, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you've heard and some of these cool, interesting phrases.
That's right. Today we have a lesson about planning a crime. We're planning a bank robbery.
Ooh, my favorite. There have been lots of movies about this topic. Very fun movies in from the beginning of movie making till now. It's a very popular topic.
That's right. And on this occasion, as Catherine said, it's a nice, fun dialogue, and we're going to have a lot of colloquial terms. So maybe you won't really understand a couple of different phrases because they're very colloquial. They're very American terms, and the accents are also they're a little bit from like Boston, kind of like New Jersey, maybe, or something.
Right, so keep an ear out for some of these strange or unusual phrases. We will be talking about them in a moment, but don't worry, if you don't understand this dialogue the first time, you'll be hearing it again later.
All right, let's run through this one more time from the top. I will be positioned here, across from the bank on this park bench. Now, according to the intel we got from Jimmy...
Oh, who's Jimmy?
Geez, Ralph, pay attention, will ya? Jimmy's our mole, you know? The guy on the inside. He's been snooping and passing on the info to us so we can pull this heist off.
Yeah, Ralph, clean the mothballs out of your ears and listen up. This here is important. We don't want to end up back in the slammer, do ya? Your role is pretty important here. We're depending on you, man.
Okay, I'm listening. Mothballs.
Alrighty then. Where was I? Oh yeah, okay. So I'll be on the lookout, sitting here on the bench across from the bank. Nobody moves until I give the go-ahead, alright? And what's the go-ahead, Ralph?
Oh yeah, you'll take off your hat and scratch your head.
Right. When I take my hat off and scratch my head, you do what?
I get in the box.
Right, you get in the box. I'll make sure it's all sealed, and then posing as the delivery guy, I'll drop off a special package for the manager. Now, according to Jimmy, the bank manager is leaving early on Tuesday because it's his wedding anniversary. He and the wife are having a romantic rendezvous in the country, so any packages delivered will be left unopened in his office until he gets back late on Wednesday.
Which gives us access to his office for at least 12 hours. Okay, Ralph, this is where you come in. Where are you?
I'm standing right next to you, Sammy. Oh, sorry, Sam. I'm in the box, right here, in that box.
And what do you do once I deliver you to the manager's office?
I stay in the box until the bank is closed. And then I get out of the box.
And then... what next, Ralph? Oh, for Pete's sake, this is never going to work.
Hey, give me a chance here, fellas. I crack the safe, and then I take the money, and then I get back in the box.
Attaboy, Ralph. In the morning, I come back to the bank, say there's been a mix-up with the delivery I made, and take the special package back here.
All right, let's get some sleep. It's a big day tomorrow, fellas.
A perfect plan, Sammy. It went off without a hitch.
Let's open this up and get Ralph out of here so we can start counting the money.
Phew, I sure am glad to see you guys. I was sure getting lonely with no one to talk.
That's nice. Okay, how much?
Really? Really glad.
Money, Ralph, money!
Oh, man. I knew I forgot something. Damn it.
All right, we're back. So, obviously, this guy Ralph. I don't know why. Always the one robber whose name is Ralph is not very clever.
No, it's not. It doesn't mean that Ralphs are generally not smart people,
Right.
but yeah, I think you're right. There's usually
Like in bank robberies or something. Like, for example, in the old movies, always Ralph was the one that
Ralph.
was messing things up.
Oh, Ralph. Well, let's find out what Ralph screwed up today. First of all, we've got the guys, Sammy, Ralph, and Frankie, who are talking about the plan.
Right.
Okay. And Sammy mentions that he had the intel from Jimmy.
Okay, so when we talk about intel, we're talking about information, right?
That's right. So intel is a word that's short for intelligence or facts or information.
That's right. So you can talk about intelligence as maybe you're very smart, you're very intelligent. But when we talk about intelligence, we talk about gathering information in order to help us accomplish an objective.
For example, in movies about the CIA, we often hear them talk about gathering intel. That means collecting facts.
Right. Very good. So they had intel from Jimmy about the bank and the layout. And, well, they were like, who's Jimmy? And Sammy says that, well, he's our mole, you know, the guy on the inside.
A mole. So mole is an animal.
Right.
But in cases of intelligence, or maybe in this case, a bank robbery, spying, a mole is a person who's basically stealing information. So, for example, if I work in the CIA, but I'm selling information from the CIA to the French government, I'm a mole.
Right. So you're basically like a spy.
Yes.
You're a person on the inside, and that's what they mean when he says he's our guy on the inside. You're inside the enemy's territory, or you're inside their organization.
Exactly. So, for example, have you seen the show 24? Yeah, with Jack Bauer. Well, they often have this problem of moles inside the organization. So maybe the terrorists have a guy on the inside.
That's right.
He's a mole.
So they have somebody that has penetrated their organization.
Exactly.
Okay, so they talk about the mole and how they are going to pull this heist off.
Okay, so the phrase here is to pull off a heist. First of all, what's a heist?
Well, a heist is a robbery, is basically a robbery.
Yeah, it's another word for robbery. So
It's kind of old though. You don't really say it anymore, right?
no, you can say it's a heist movie, or it's a movie about a heist. It's almost like a genre.
Yeah.
You know, there's a basic storyline where they plan the robbery, they do the robbery, something goes wrong, what's going to happen? So that's a heist.
Very good. So a heist is something that was planned out.
Yes.
Like a robbery that's planned out. It's not really if you come up to someone and say, give me your wallet. That's not really a heist.
No, that's a stick up.
Right.
But a heist is something that you pull off. So to pull off is to succeed.
To accomplish.
So I pulled it off. I was able to do it.
So you pulled off the heist. Very good. And, well, they were talking about if they do it, they don't want to get caught because they don't want to go back to the slammer.
Oh, the slammer. Yeah, well, I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to go to the slammer either.
So what is the slammer?
The slammer. The big house.
Right. Lockup, the slammer, the big house. All these are colloquial synonyms for prison, for jail.
Jail. So normally we say prison or jail, like it's a maximum security prison, like Prison Break, the TV show.
Right.
But in colloquial English, we often say slammer.
Okay, the slammer or the big house. Okay, so they were talking that they don't want to go back to the slammer, and now when they were actually planning out the crime, he says, well, you wait until I give you the go-ahead.
Okay, so this is the plan. He's going to wait for a sign. The go-ahead means a sign that indicates that it's time to do something. Okay, so for example, so in this case, what is that sign?
The sign or the go-ahead is he'll take off his hat and scratch his head.
Okay, so that's a sign that means it's okay to proceed, it's okay to continue.
Right.
So you can also say, okay, when we're ready to go, Marco, I'll give you the go-ahead. Okay, just wait for me to wave.
Okay, very good. So that's the go-ahead, the signal.
Exactly.
All right, very good. Now moving on, we have a French word here, but that's used very commonly in English. And they said, okay, we have a rendezvous.
Okay, so a rendezvous is a meetup or a time or place where people are connecting together. So, for example, in a heist, you could say, we're going to rob the bank and then we will rendezvous at our favorite restaurant in 2 hours.
Okay, so rendezvous is to meet up, to get together.
Right, but in this case, they're talking about a romantic rendezvous. So this means a trip with a lover.
So it's a little bit different, right? He and his wife are having a romantic rendezvous in the country.
Okay, that means that they're going to have a romantic meeting.
Okay, very good. And now this next phrase is very, very interesting. It's very common to hear it as well. I think like moms say it a lot. Oh, for Pete's sake.
Oh, for Pete's sake. Well, I don't know who Pete is, honestly. But this means, my gosh, or come on, or oh, I'm so tired of this.
So you're a little bit exasperated. Maybe you're a little bit irritated.
Oh, for Pete's sake, Marco, stop giving me examples. I'm
whining.
done hearing them. Yeah.
So there are a lot of other ways to say this, right?
Yeah. So you could say, for goodness sake.
For goodness sake. Or, oh, for heaven's sake.
For heaven's sake. And finally, for God's sake.
Right.
But this one you have to be careful because some people who are religious might be offended if you use it.
So if that's the case, then you would just rather go with Pete's sake, heaven's sake, or goodness sake.
Okay, for goodness sake.
It's a very common phrase, and as you say, it's for when you're a little bit irritated. It's like, oh, for goodness sake, stop complaining.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. And now for our last word. You may have seen the word fellas. Fellas.
Fellas. So this comes from the word fellow, person, man. But oftentimes in these kind of movies or stories about heists or crimes, the men talk to each other using the word fella or fellas. So come on, fellas, let's go.
That means come on, guys, come on, everyone.
Okay, yeah. So this is always about men, not like a group of women would use this.
Right.
And it's something that's a little bit older. We don't really say this like, oh, me and my fellas, we're going to go to the store. You would say this more in old time English.
Yeah, you can see it maybe in some movies when somebody comes up and greets other people, other guys. He would say, hey, fellas.
Exactly. Or there's a mafia movie. It's about the American mafia called Goodfellas.
Very good.
That's a very famous one. So it kind of gives you that feeling of an older English, like the 1940s to the 1970s.
Okay. Very good. A lot of interesting things going on in this bank robbery. Why don't we go back, listen to the dialogue one last time, and we'll be back in a little bit. All right. Let's run through this one more time from the top. I will be positioned here, across from the bank on this park bench. Now, according to the intel we got from Jimmy...
Oh, who's Jimmy?
Geez, Ralph, pay attention, will ya? Jimmy's our mole, you know? The guy on the inside. He's been snooping and passing on the info to us so we can pull this heist off.
Yeah, Ralph, clean the mothballs out of your ears and listen up. This here is important. We don't want to end up back in the slammer, do ya? Your role is pretty important here. We're dependent on you, man.
Okay, I'm listening. Mothballs.
Alrighty then. Where was I? Oh yeah, okay. So I'll be on the lookout, sitting here on the bench across from the bank. Nobody moves until I give the go-ahead, alright? And what's the go-ahead, Ralph?
Oh yeah, you'll take off your hat and scratch your head.
Right. When I take my hat off and scratch my head, you do what?
I get in the box.
Right, you get in the box. I'll make sure it's all sealed, and then posing as the delivery guy, I'll drop off a special package for the manager. Now, according to Jimmy, the bank manager's leaving early on Tuesday because it's his wedding anniversary. He and the wife are having a romantic rendezvous in the country, so any packages delivered will be left unopened in his office until he gets back late on Wednesday.
Which gives us access to his office for at least 12 hours. Okay, Ralph, this is where you come in. Where are you?
I'm standing right next to you, Sammy. Oh, sorry, Sam. I'm in the box, right here, in that box.
And what do you do once I deliver you to the manager's office?
I stay in the box until the bank is closed. And then I get out of the box.
And then... what next, Ralph? Oh, for Pete's sake, this is never going to work.
Hey, give me a chance here, fellas. I crack the safe and then I take the money. And then I get back in the box.
Attaboy, Ralph. In the morning, I come back to the bank, say there's been a mix-up with the delivery I made, and take the special package back here.
All right, let's get some sleep. It's a big day tomorrow, fellas.
A perfect plan, Sammy. It went off without a hitch.
Let's open this up and get Ralph out of here so we can start counting the money.
Phew, I sure am glad to see you guys. I was sure getting lonely with no one to talk.
That's nice. Okay, how much?
Really? Really glad.
Money, Ralph, money!
Oh, man. I knew I forgot something. Damn it.
Okay, so someone proclaimed at the end of the dialogue that everything went off without a hitch. Is this true?
No. What does it mean if something went without a hitch?
It went off without a hitch means there was not even one problem. It went off it went perfectly,
Smoothly.
yes.
Okay.
And it didn't because, well, these robbers didn't actually rob anyone.
Right, he forgot to get the money.
Right. So he's kind of an idiot.
Right. But there are actually a lot of good movies. I think the most recent one about bank robberies is Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13.
Yeah, that's right. Those are all about big heists.
Big heists. And I think they mentioned the word heist a couple of times in that movie.
Yeah, definitely. So there was a movie with Clive Owen a few years ago called The Inside Man that was maybe one of the best heist movies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
Yeah.
I think also Swordfish was a pretty good movie with John Travolta.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Yeah, I like it when the bad guys win. You know, because it's a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I guess you could say
But I
that.
don't think the public likes this.
Well, in The Inside Man, the bad guy is kind of a good guy, but he wins. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, but it's a very interesting topic, and I don't know. I haven't really heard of many bank robberies nowadays anymore.
Not so much. I think security in banks is pretty good, but I'd be very curious to hear from our users if they have any favorite heist stories or movies, real or fake. Both are okay. You can let us know on our website, englishpod.com.
That's right. All right. We'll see everyone there.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Rehearse quickly. Run through. Pry into the private affairs of others. Snoop. Out of. Outa. A prison or jail. Slammer. Short for intelligence, information, or instructions. Intel. Person who watches and warns if there is danger. Lookout. Permission to do something. Go ahead. A meeting planned at a certain time and place. Rendezvous. Mistake, an unforeseen obstacle. Hitch. A phrase used to express frustration. For Pete's sake.
Let's try that faster.
Pry into the private affairs of others. Snoop. A meeting planned at a certain time and place. Rendezvous. A phrase used to express frustration. For Pete's sake. Rehearse quickly. Run through. Person who watches and warns if there is danger. Lookout. Permission to do something. Go ahead. A prison or jail. Slammer. Mistake, an unforeseen obstacle. Hitch. Short for intelligence, information, or instructions. Intel. Out of. Outa.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Run through. Let's run through the English lesson one more time. Run through. He must run through his lines for the play again. Run through. The computer must run through all the codes before processing information. Slammer. After he was caught robbing the store, he was thrown into the slammer. Slammer. The slammer is not for the weak-hearted. Slammer. She visits her husband in the slammer every weekend. Intel. The intel suggests he is a very dangerous man. Intel. His intel was wrong. She is not at home. Intel. The boss's intel is always detailed and correct. Rendezvous. The rendezvous point is at the north end of the beach. Rendezvous. Every year they rendezvous in Paris, France. Rendezvous. We must change the rendezvous. The cops are on to our plans. For Pete's sake. Oh, for Pete's sake, stop changing the channel so much. For Pete's sake. My phone fell into the toilet. Oh, for Pete's sake. For Pete's sake. Oh, for Pete's sake, must you take so long to get ready?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine. So as usual, we've got a great dialogue for you today. And before we get going, I should mention what the topic is. So Marco, take it away.
We are actually having a small fight at the office. Somebody or a coworker is annoying us. So, sometimes coworkers, you see them every day. They're doing something that's maybe getting on your nerves.
And you practically live together because you're with each other for 8, 9, 10 hours every day.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, some language related to this topic. So let's listen to the dialogue for the first time.
Hey, Mary, can you cut that out?
Cut what out? I'm not doing anything.
The tapping of your pen on your desk. It's driving me crazy.
Fine. By the way, would you mind not slurping your coffee every time you have a cup?
I don't slurp my coffee. And plus, how can you hear it when you're shouting into your phone all the time?
You've got to be kidding me. You're complaining about me talking on the phone when you go out for a cigarette break 10 times a day to shoot the breeze?
Look, we have a lot of accumulated anger from working in these conditions, and it's probably okay to let off steam once in a while, but it's probably not a good idea to keep it up. I'm willing to forgive and forget if you are.
Fine. Let's call it truce. I'll try to be more considerate and keep the noise down.
Yeah, I'll try to do the same. So, I was wondering, you want to go out to dinner Friday night?
All right, we're back. So, I think this is a common situation, right?
So common, this might even be based on our own lives.
It is. You may not know, but Catherine and I get into fights all the time.
All the time. No, not really.
All right. So I think there was some interesting words here, but mostly phrases. So let's start with the words first on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so the first word, as you might have guessed, has to do with eating and drinking. This is called slurping. And
To
it's
slurp.
To slurp. So the noun, the thing is slurping.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very common with people who eat their food quickly.
Like soup.
Yeah, soup or,
Noodles.
or when they're eating soup noodles.
Or sometimes when you have a drink and you're drinking it through a straw, towards the end, you're just like trying to get the very last part at the bottom. So yeah, the straw slurps.
Yeah, so slurping, some people really can't stand it. And
sometimes you don't even notice that you're doing it.
No, absolutely not.
All right, so apart from slurping, what else do we have?
We've got a great word here, accumulated. So a lot of accumulated anger. The word is a verb, to accumulate.
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean?
Means to kind of grow or to become more and more.
Okay.
All right?
So you're like saving it.
Or even it's like building up. We say this oftentimes in Chicago where it snows a lot in the winter, that there's a foot of snow accumulated on the ground. That means there's a lot of snow. And every time it snows, it keeps getting bigger.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
to accumulate.
So accumulated anger. Your anger is getting bigger and bigger.
Right, because you never tell anyone about your anger, so it keeps building and it keeps piling up.
All right. Well, towards the end, they said, well, let's call a truce. So they want to call a truce.
All right, a truce is another word for a peace. And so this is a way that you can stop fighting and say that you and I have been fighting for a long time. We may not come to a deal, but we'll say, truce, from now on, we just won't fight. Okay?
Won't fight about it. Okay.
Brothers and sisters often call truces.
Truce. And, well, if you're calling a truce, you're trying to be more considerate.
Okay, considerate, like you're saying, is a way to be or a way to act. And considerate often has to do with how you act towards other people. So it's being nice to other people or thinking about other people's feelings before yourself.
All right. So if you're considerate, then you are maybe more polite. You think about the other person's feelings before you do anything.
Exactly. Or you just say nice little things like please and thank you and I'm sorry. And these things are all ways of being considerate.
Very good. All right. So 4 great words on language takeaway. Why don't we move on now to Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
All right, so as we mentioned, this dialogue is very, very rich in a lot of different phrases, so let's start with a couple of them. The very first one and the title of the lesson, cut it out. Cut that out.
Hey, Mary, can you cut that out?
Right, so you're not actually saying to cut something with scissors or something.
No, it's a way of saying, can you stop that?
Stop it. Stop doing that.
Stop it. Quit it.
Okay, cut that out. Cut it out.
So if someone's doing something that's really annoying to you, it's not very nice to say, but you can say, hey, cut that out.
Cut it out.
Or if someone's doing something mean to someone, like my brother used to hit me, my mom would say, Peter, cut that out.
All right, so it is a good mom phrase as well. All right, moving on to our next phrase. The guy said that the tapping on the desk was driving him crazy. It's driving me crazy.
All right, to drive someone crazy means to make someone just feel like they're going nuts or, it makes you kind of angry or frustrated or tense.
But it can also be used like in a romantic sense, right? That girl drives me crazy.
It means like he can't even think about anything else.
All right.
So in this case, what drives you crazy?
When...
I'll tell you what drives me crazy. When people clip their fingernails and toenails at the office.
Can't believe. Well, it drives me crazy, like, for example, when somebody or my brother leaves his clothes lying on the floor in the living room, for example.
That's annoying, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that drives me crazy. All right, so moving on to our third phrase. This is a pretty big one, but take it as a whole. You've got to be kidding me.
All right, so this is, as you've said, a fixed phrase. These words usually go together, and it is a perfect example of sarcasm. So it's the way you say it is very important. So I could say, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." What's a good situation for this? Maybe I get to the airport and I'm running late, and I'm really happy that I get there on time, and then I see the flight is delayed 7 hours.
Exactly.
You've got to be kidding me.
Right. So it's a way of saying I can't believe it, or seriously,
Or
this
what-
isn't. Yeah. What's happening?
Or what bad luck.
Right. So it is a sarcastic phrase, but use it as a whole. Usually you don't change the subject. You don't say you've got to be kidding him or
No,
something
it's
like
always this. You've got to be kidding me.
that. All right.
Or you've got to be kidding me. See? Different meanings with different inflections.
Different inflection. Very good. What's our next phrase?
Our next phrase is a good one because it doesn't mean what it sounds like, okay? So to shoot the breeze,
Okay.
all right? Shoot means like you can shoot a gun, and breeze is like the wind. But here, to shoot the breeze is to have a nice little conversation, just to talk about nothing.
Okay, so not really do anything, just talk a little bit.
Right, so if we think about this in the context of this sentence, it's, you go out for your cigarette break 10 times a day to shoot the breeze.
Okay.
So this means you go outside and you just talk about nothing and whatever, and it's almost like you're wasting time just talking.
Okay, so shooting the breeze. You can say, oh, we were just shooting the breeze.
Just have a nice little conversation, nothing important.
Okay. And our last phrase for today. Forgive and forget. Let's forgive and forget.
Let's forgive and forget. These words again, like the last phrases, go together. Forgive and forget. So I could say this to you, Marco. I say, I know you've been fighting with your brother for 10 years. I say, finally, just forgive and forget. It means just put put everything behind you and try and start again.
Okay, let it go.
Yeah, forgive the person, forget about it, move on.
Okay, forgive and forget. Very good. So, very interesting phrases. I think they're very useful, and this is very colloquial English, right?
Absolutely. This is stuff that you're going to hear all the time, but maybe not all together
Right.
at the same time. Definitely, though, very helpful for interacting with foreign friends and colleagues.
Very good. So, let's listen to the dialogue for the last time, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Mary, can you cut that out?
Cut what out? I'm not doing anything.
The tapping of your pen on your desk? It's driving me crazy.
Fine. By the way, would you mind not slurping your coffee every time you have a cup?
I don't slurp my coffee. And plus, how can you hear it when you're shouting into your phone all the time?
You've got to be kidding me. You're complaining about me talking on the phone when you go out for a cigarette break 10 times a day to shoot the breeze?
Look, we have a lot of accumulated anger from working in these conditions, and it's probably okay to let off steam once in a while, but it's probably not a good idea to keep it up. I'm willing to forgive and forget if you are.
Fine. Let's call a truce. I'll try to be more considerate and keep the noise down.
Yeah, I'll try to do the same. So, I was wondering, you want to go out to dinner Friday night?
So, did you ever see the TV show Full House when you were a kid?
I did. It was a popular with the Olsen twins and all those, right?
Yeah, and Bob Saget. So there was an uncle on the show, Uncle Joey, and he always used to say, "Cut it out."
Yeah,
and he
that's
had
right.
like hand motions for it. And so cut it out is a way to say kind of stop it, quit it, you're killing me. It's like he was saying too funny.
Right.
And so whenever I hear this phrase, I always think of that early 90s TV
very
show.
early 90s.
Yeah.
Well, this whole situation with The Office as well. I think there was a TV show called The Office, right?
Yeah, there was the British Office and then there was an American version.
And it's also something about office life and how colleagues get on each other's nerves and they play pranks on each other and everyone's kind of weird.
And everyone drives everyone else crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's funny because once you start working in an office full time, I mean, everyone's maybe had a little bit of office experience, but when it's full time, you spend more time with your colleagues than you do with your family. It's really
It's strange at
amazing
times.
what makes you crazy, what drives you crazy, and what stuff just doesn't matter.
So this is an interesting topic. We really want to hear from you guys. Many of you probably work at an office, so tell us. So come and tell us what drives you crazy, or maybe what colleague is driving you mad.
You don't have to use names. You can just use nicknames if you want.
Right. Leave questions and comments, and we'll see you guys next time.
My name is Sarah. I was 17 years old when this happened. It was summer when my parents sent me to my grandmother's home in another city. I was happy because I loved playing with my cousins and enjoying family dinners. But that night, something happened that I will always remember. My grandmother's house was large. It was full of people because we came together for a family wedding. The rooms were bright and the garden was full of flowers. Everyone was busy with cooking, music, and preparing clothes. I loved weddings because they meant food, dancing, and fun with cousins. I never thought danger could come in a place full of family. Before I tell you the details, please support me by liking, sharing, and subscribing. It gives me courage to share more true stories. Do not forget to comment as well. Now, back to the story where I left. I played with my younger cousins in the garden that day. We laughed, ate sweets, and ran in the sun. My grandmother sat on a chair smiling at us. My mother helped in the kitchen with the other women. The men talked loudly about guests, cars, and work. It felt like a happy time. I had no idea what was waiting for me that night. In the evening, the wedding songs began. My cousins and I clapped to the music. The bride sat in a red dress. The family took pictures and cheered. I also wore a new dress, and my aunt told me I looked grown up. I smiled shilly because I was not used to hearing that. The food was served, and I ate until I was full. When the party ended, everyone felt tired. The children slept early, and the women cleaned the kitchen. My grandmother told me I should rest because the next day would be busy again. She said, "Sarah, you can sleep in the guest room. It is quiet there." I thanked her and walked to the room. I felt safe because it was my grandmother's house surrounded by family. The guest room was small but clean. There was a bed in the middle and a window open to the garden. I closed the curtain, changed my dress, and lay down. I thought about the music and the bride's smile. Slowly, I felt my eyes close. But the night had other plans for me. I woke when I heard the door open. At first, I thought it was my grandmother checking on me. I whispered, "Grandmother, is that you?" But there was no answer. The room was dim, and I saw a shadow near the door. My heart started to beat fast. It was not my grandmother. It was one of the boys from the wedding. He was a relative, but not very close. He often visited with his parents. He stepped inside and closed the door slowly. I sat up and held my blanket. He smiled, but it was not a kind smile. He whispered, "Do not be afraid. I only want to talk." I felt my body shake. I said, "Please go. It is late. You should sleep." But he moved closer to the bed. I pushed my blanket around me tightly. My hands felt weak, but I spoke louder this time. "If you come near me, I will scream. Everyone will wake up." For a moment he stopped. His face looked dark and strange. I prayed in my heart that he would leave. But then he whispered again, "Be quiet. No one will know." I felt fear rise in me. I thought about my cousins, about my grandmother. I thought about what people would say if they found me with him. My throat felt dry, but I knew I had to be strong. I pushed him back when he reached out. I shouted, "Go now or I will scream." This time he froze. Maybe he saw I was not weak. He stepped back toward the door. I kept my eyes on him, ready to scream if he tried again. At last, he opened the door and left quickly. The room was quiet again, but I could not sleep. I sat on the bed, shaking and crying softly. The night felt endless. Every sound made me afraid. I heard dogs outside, the wind in the trees, and footsteps in the hall. I thought he might come back, so I kept the blanket over me and stared at the door. I waited for the morning. When the first light of the sun touched the curtain, I felt a little safe again. At breakfast, I saw him. He sat with others, smiling and talking as if nothing had happened. He joked with my cousins and laughed with my uncles. I hated his fake smile. I stayed quiet, but my heart was heavy. I wanted to tell someone, but fear closed my mouth. I asked myself, will they believe me, or will they say I made a mistake? The wedding went on, and the house was full of noise again, but inside me there was no joy. I avoided him as much as I could. Still, he passed near me sometimes. His eyes followed me, and I felt my skin burn with fear. Every step I took, I thought he was behind me. At night, I locked the guest room door. I prayed he would not try again. I did not sleep well. I woke many times, checking the door and window. I kept thinking about what happened. My mind asked the same questions again and again. Why me? Why here? Did I do something wrong? But deep down, I knew the truth. I had done nothing wrong. It was all him. When I looked at my younger cousins, I felt even more worried. They were so small and innocent. I asked myself, what if he tries to hurt them one day? That thought broke me. I could not let this stay hidden. I could not stay silent. That was the moment I knew I must speak. But how would I tell my parents? How would I tell my grandmother? My voice was locked by fear. Still, I felt I could not carry it alone. I had to try. The next morning I could not smile. My cousins laughed and played, but I sat quietly. My grandmother asked me, "Sarah, are you sick?" I said no. I could not tell her the truth. My mother looked at me with worry. She asked, "Are you tired? Do you want to rest?" I only nodded. I did not know how to speak. During lunch, he was there again. He laughed with everyone and helped serve food. I looked at him and felt sick inside. He acted normal, but I knew his secret. I hated how easy it was for him to hide. He looked like family, but I now saw him as someone dangerous. I wanted to shout in front of everyone. I wanted to say, "He is not what you think." But my voice stayed silent. That afternoon, I went to the garden. I sat under a tree watching children play. A little cousin sat near me with her doll. She was only 9 years old. She showed me her toy and smiled. I tried to smile back, but my heart was heavy. I thought, what if he ever tries to hurt her? That thought made me shake. I knew I could not stay quiet anymore. That night, I wrote in my notebook. I wrote about the guest room. I wrote about how he entered. I wrote about my fear and my tears. My hands shook as I wrote each word. When I finished, I hid the notebook under my pillow. I was scared, but I also felt a little stronger. The next morning, my mother found the notebook while she was fixing my bed. She opened it and saw my words. She called me into the room. Her eyes were full of questions. "Sarah, did you write this?" she asked softly. I felt my face turn red. Tears filled my eyes. I whispered, "Yes, Mama." It happened. My mother hugged me tightly. "My child, why did you not tell me?" she asked. I cried and said, "I was afraid. I thought no one would believe me." She held me close and whispered, "I will always believe you. You are my daughter. You are not alone." Later that evening, my mother spoke to my father. I stayed in the room while she told him. My father's face turned red with anger. His hands clenched into fists. He shouted, "How dare he? He is family, but he is a monster." My mother tried to calm him, but I saw the fire in his eyes. He looked at me and said, "Sarah, you did nothing wrong. Do not blame yourself." His words made me cry again, but this time I felt a little safe. The next day, my father called my grandmother into a private room. I sat outside listening to voices rise and fall. My grandmother cried loudly when she heard the truth. How can this be under my roof? She said I felt her pain through the wall. My father told her, "This cannot stay quiet. He must be punished." My grandmother agreed, but she also looked broken. That evening, my father went to find him. The house was busy with wedding guests, but my father's voice was louder than all others. He shouted his name and called him to the courtyard. Everyone stopped talking. The music went silent. My father stood tall, his face hard like stone. He pointed and said, "You are a disgrace. You tried to hurt my daughter." The boy's face turned pale. At first, he denied it. He said, "No, uncle, I did nothing. She is lying." My body shook when I heard him. I wanted to scream, but my father stepped closer and said, "If you lie again, I will go to the police. Everyone will know what you did." The boy's eyes filled with fear. He looked down and whispered, "I am sorry." I lost control. The crowd gasped. My aunts and uncles looked shocked. Some people cried, others whispered to each other. My father shouted again, "Sorry is not enough. You will answer for this." My mother held my hand tightly. I felt safe by her side. My grandmother cried and said, "Take him away. He cannot stay here." That night, the wedding house was no longer full of joy. The women whispered in the kitchen. The men spoke in angry voices. Some relatives tried to say, "Do not tell the police. It will bring shame." But my father stood firm. He said, "The shame is not ours. The shame is his. Silence will only hurt more girls." His words made me proud. I slept in my mother's arms that night. For the first time since the guest room, I felt I could rest. My mother stroked my hair and whispered, "You are safe now. We will protect you." Tears still fell from my eyes, but they were mixed with relief. The next morning, my father went to the police station. He told them everything. He filed a complaint. The officers listened carefully and promised to act. My father came back and said, "It has begun. He will not escape." My mother smiled at me gently. "You are brave, Sarah," she said. "You spoke and now the truth is known." The wedding was no longer bright. The bride and groom still celebrated, but many guests left early. Some people looked at me with pity. Some whispered behind my back. I hated those looks. They made me feel small. But when I looked at my parents, I felt stronger. They stood with me. They believed me. At night, I thought about what happened. I remembered his words in the guest room. I remembered my fear. But I also remembered my father's strong voice in the courtyard. I remembered my mother's warm hug. I felt that maybe I could heal one day. I started writing again in my notebook. This time my words were not only about fear, they were also about courage. I wrote. I spoke. They believed me. I am not alone. Writing made me feel lighter. My diary became my friend. The days after were not easy. Some relatives tried to make my father stop the case. They said, "It will bring shame to the family. People will talk." But my father answered, "Let them talk. I will not hide the truth. My daughter's safety is more important." His courage gave me courage too. At school, I stayed quiet. My friends asked, "Why are you so silent?" I only smiled and said, "I am fine," but inside I was still fighting. I remembered everything again and again. Sometimes at night I woke up sweating. But when I heard my mother's voice near me, I felt safe again. One day while I sat with my cousin who was only 9, I told her softly, "If anyone ever makes you feel bad, even if it is family, you must tell your parents. Do not hide." She looked at me with wide eyes and said, "Will they believe me?" I held her hand and said, "Yes, they will. And even if they do not, you must keep telling until someone listens." Her smile gave me hope. Slowly, I began to see that my story could help others. I thought, maybe if I speak, some other girl will speak too. Maybe she will not wait as long as I did. That thought made me stronger. The days after the wedding felt heavy. People still talked. Some looked at me with pity. Some looked with doubt. I hated those looks. But I remembered my father's words, "The shame is not yours. It is his." Those words stayed in my heart. Weeks passed. The police came to speak with my father again. They asked questions. They asked me too. My hands shook as I told them the story. I was afraid, but my father sat beside me. He said, "Do not fear. Just tell the truth." I spoke slowly, telling them how he came into the room, how I felt, how I pushed him away. When I finished, the officer nodded and said, "You are brave." Later, they took him away for questions. I did not see him, but I heard from my father that he looked pale and weak. He tried to say sorry again. He tried to say it was a mistake, But my father told him, "This is not a mistake. This is a crime." Life did not return to normal quickly. At school, I found it hard to listen. My mind often went back to that night. I saw the door, the shadow, the fear. Sometimes I woke in the dark, my body shaking. But when I heard my mother's soft voice or my father's strong steps, I felt safe again. I began to write in my diary every day. I wrote about the fear. I wrote about my parents' love. I wrote about courage. Writing helped me breathe and felt like I was not alone. The pages listened to me when no one else could. One evening, my father sat with me. He said, "Sarah, you are not weak. You are strong. Many girls stay silent, but you spoke. You should be proud." I looked at him and asked, "But people still whisper. They look at me as if I did something wrong." My father took my hand and said, "Let them whisper. Their words do not matter. You know the truth. You are innocent." My mother also reminded me each day. She said, "Do not hide your face. You did nothing wrong. Walk with your head high." Her words warmed me. Slowly, I started to believe them. Months passed. The case moved slowly, as cases often do. Some relatives said, "Stop now. Do not fight. It will break the family." But my father answered, "The family is not broken by truth. It is broken by silence." He never gave up. I admired him more than ever. When the day of the court came, I felt sick with fear. My father and mother went with me. In the court, I saw him again. He looked different now. His face was pale. His eyes were down. He was not the same boy who had smiled in the guest room. He looked small, weak, and afraid. The judge asked questions. I told my story again. My voice shook, but I kept speaking. My mother's hand was on my shoulder. My father stood strong beside me. I did not cry this time. I spoke clearly. The judge listened. The boy said nothing. He only looked at the floor. When we left the court, I felt lighter. I knew the fight was not finished, but I had faced him without fear. That was a victory for me. At home, I started to speak more openly. I told my younger cousins, "If anyone makes you feel wrong, you must speak. Even if it is family, do not stay quiet." Some of them looked shocked. Some asked, "But what if no one believes us?" I told them, "The right people will believe, and if not, keep telling until someone listens." I also spoke to girls at school. Sometimes they whispered about men who stared at them or about being touched in crowded places. I told them softly, "You are not alone. Do not blame yourself. If you feel unsafe, speak." Their eyes showed fear, but also hope. Healing was not easy. Some nights I still cried. Some days I felt weak, but I also felt stronger each week. I studied harder. I wanted to build a future where I could stand tall, where I could never be broken again. One day, while writing in my diary, I realized something clear. I was not guilty. I had blamed myself for many nights, but it was never my fault. It was his choice, his action, his crime. That truth set me free. I forgave myself for staying silent in the beginning. I promised I would never blame myself again. My father often said, "Truth is a shield. Lies are a knife. Never fear the truth." I held on to those words. My mother often said, "Courage grows when we speak." I held on to those words too. Months later, when the case was strong, he was punished. I did not feel happy, but I felt justice. I did not hate him anymore. I only felt pity. He had destroyed his own life with his actions, but I also felt proud of myself. I was no longer the silent girl in the guest room. I was Sarah who spoke, who fought, who survived. Now when I look back, I still feel the pain, but I also see the strength. I see my parents standing with me. I see myself speaking in court. I see myself telling other girls, "You are not weak. You are not guilty. You are brave." I was 17 when it happened. I am older now. I am still healing, but I am stronger. My story is not only about pain, it is about courage. It is about speaking when it is hard. It is about hope. To every girl who listens to me now, I want to say this. You are not alone. Do not hide your voice. If someone hurts you, speak. If someone makes you afraid, speak. Silence protects them. Speaking protects you. Your truth has power. And to every boy who listens, I want to say this. Respect women. Do not see them as weak. Do not see them as bodies. Respect them as human, as equal, as important. A real man does not harm. A real man protects. We all go through hard times, but stories like this can help us feel seen. Thank you for watching and come back for more real moments.